heading out on a 4-day adventure through the Olympic National Park / Olympic National Forest. And the plan is to spend the next 4 days exploring as much off pavement as we can. We've got a route planned out, trying to do an entire loop of the Olympic National Forest and Olympic National Park. What do you think? What are you looking forward to the most?
Right now I'm looking forward to eating crepes.
Christine hasn't eaten since what?
Tuesday.
Christine hasn't eaten since Tuesday. It's Thursday morning. So first step is to get to the ferry.
Yes.
And then once we get off the ferry, there's a crepe place that we love, so we're going to check that out. And then it's on to a camping weekend.
But what I'm looking forward to doing on this trip is really exploring a part of Washington that I honestly have never really spent any time in.
Yeah.
Checking out someplace new.
Explore something new, and we get great weather for it, so it should be a lot of fun.
It's gonna be hot.
This dog gets love everywhere she goes. Just got jerky from the neighbors on the ferry behind us. The end of our ferry ride marked the beginning of our time on the Olympic Peninsula. We were both excited to get out into the wilderness for a weekend of exploration. But first things first. Here she comes. All right, how many crepes did you get?
Just two.
Just two?
One savory and one sweet.
Oh, I thought you were gonna get 4.
Well, these are for me. I don't know what you're eating.
Oh, okay. How was it? Was it worth waiting a day and a half?
Yes.
All right, we are officially at the start of our route. We're just outside of Quilcene. Hopefully I'm not butchering that. And we're off pavement. So we just aired down just to help the ride comfort a little bit. These roads are still pretty good. So we'll see what we find. Next thing on the agenda for us is just looking for a campsite for the evening. So we're just gonna drive around, cruise around, poke our head in some spur roads and see what we see. And as soon as we find something that looks good, we're gonna set up camp for the night. So we'll see what we find. So it's about 4:30 in the afternoon. We just rolled into camp. I looked at some satellite imagery before we came out here and found this little ridgetop spur road. And there's a handful of little campsites out here. Let me flip it around and show you guys what our camp looks like. So right at the end of the spur road, we got a little fire ring already established. And the views are just spectacular. We got some snow-capped mountains in the background there and a panoramic view. Right now it's not too windy, could get windy tonight, but we do have some trees blocking the wind as well, so hopefully that'll help. So yeah, pretty happy with this one. So we're just gonna relax. He just cracked a beer, so I'm gonna go sit down and enjoy.
With day one of our trip coming to a close, all that was left to do was sit back, relax, and enjoy the sunset.
And here we have spotted the elusive border collie. She roams the two-track in search of grass, which she consumes only to vomit it up later in the vast wilderness.
Jeff and I just packed up the truck. We are going to be off on our second leg of this trip. I just have to say this camp spot that we found is probably top 3 on my list. I don't know where it falls on Jeff's, but this spot I loved because look at the views. This is what we got to stare at. We were nice and sheltered with these trees around the campsite. The wind was howling last night, but it actually wasn't too bad for us. I slept really, really well, so I actually didn't hear any of it. But when I woke up this morning, Jeff said that he heard the wind howling. We are off to explore more road.
All right, so we just made a quick pit stop in Squim so that Christine could get the last little bit of work done for the week. So I think we're officially now on vacation. But our next stop is Deer Park Trail, which we've heard about a couple times just in the last few weeks from people. And so we decided it's sort of along our route. It's a little bit of a detour, but I believe it's the second highest road you can drive up in the Olympics. So we're gonna go check that out, and should be some great views, so we'll see what we see at the top.
Maybe some deer?
Maybe some deer on Deer Park Road. We'll see.
The views from the top of Deer Park Road did not disappoint, and it was the perfect spot to sit on the tailgate and enjoy some lunch. Both Christine and I agreed we could have spent hours at the top taking in the scenery, but we needed to get going and find camp for the night. So from 6,000 feet, we began our descent back to sea level enjoying every minute of the drive. To make up a bit of time, we opted to follow Highway 101 past Lake Crescent, which, if I'm honest, didn't feel like much of a penalty, as the views of the lake from the highway were excellent. Just a few miles west of the lake, we got back off pavement and rejoined our planned route.
All right, update. Well, update number one. Christine says I look like a kid because I have my hat on backwards.
Yes.
Update number two. We've got our camp set up. It's like 6 o'clock. We have been looking for a campsite for like 3 hours. Yeah, like 3 hours looking for a campsite, and the road we were on, there's just nothing. And so we got close to the town of Forks, and then it's a zoo over here, and so we just split off a Forest Service road and managed to find a little site. It's not like yesterday, which was spectacular, but it'll do. So we're here, and it's beer o'clock.
Sparkling water o'clock.
So we're gonna relax and enjoy the wind in the trees.
Yep.
We got steaks tonight for dinner.
Steak.
For dinner, so it's gonna be a good night. So that's it. I don't know what else to say. I'm not good at this vlogging thing. All right. Good morning. Here we are on day 3 of our trip. It's about 6:30 in the morning. Just got some coffee going and just enjoying camp. Slept really well last night. It was nice to be cool in the shade after a long, hot day. And today's supposed to be even hotter. So today we're going to deviate from our original plan a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to head to the ocean. We weren't originally planning on heading to the ocean, but given that it's supposed to be super hot today and we're pretty close, we're going to make a little detour, enjoy Collie Beach for a little bit this morning before we rejoin with our original route and head back into the Olympics. So it should be a lot of fun, and looking forward to it.
The things I do to get a shot.
As we made our way to the ocean, we crossed river after river, and when we came across a quiet section along the South Fork of the Collie River, we took the opportunity to get out, stretch our legs, and fly the drone.
does it feel to be dipping your toes in the ocean?
It's so warm. It's like, there's a reason they call this beach Miami Beach of the North. So if you're ever up here, bring your Speedo and plan on just diving right in, because the beaches up here are super warm.
After spending the morning enjoying the sights and smells of Collie Beach and the Pacific Ocean, we headed back inland. Before long, we were back in the rainforest. This section of our trip, which followed along the shores of Lake Quinault and the Quinault River, was far from remote. Clearly, it was a popular spot. But it was easy to see why, as the drive took us through the most lush rainforest we had experienced so far on our trip, and it was littered with spectacular waterfalls draining into the Quinault River. Leaving the Quinault River behind, we pushed on and followed a network of Forest Service roads that carved their way through the southernmost edge of the Olympic National Forest. As we continued on, our search for a suitable spot to camp for the night became a bit more pressing. Our target had been to make camp by 5 p.m., but we were already well past 6, and despite trying numerous offshoots and spur roads, just like this one, we weren't having much luck.
Got another update. We just finished our trip. We just finished our loop. Faster than anticipated, actually. We reached our jump off point, which we weren't planning on reaching until tomorrow, but we actually hit it at about 7 o'clock this evening. And the reason is we spent about 3 hours looking for a dispersed campsite, and we struck out. We just couldn't do it. I think with the weather, with the heat, it was 99 degrees right now. Anything down by a river was packed, and the higher elevations we just didn't see much available. So we're heading home a day early, but that's okay. What a great trip!
Yeah.
What a great trip. What was your favorite part? What were the highlights for you?
I'd have to say my favorite part of the trip was stopping at the Pacific Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
That I wasn't expecting to stop at the ocean. I didn't think that the Washington coast was going to be part of our Olympic loop. So that was a very pleasant surprise, or audible, I guess that we call it.
Yeah, we did call that audible. We were not planning on that originally, but we were just so close to the ocean that ultimately I think we just had to go check it out. So that was a great way to start the morning.
It's a part of Washington, at least the coast, that I always wanted to go to, never been. So I'm glad that got to cross that off the list.
Also a great way to start the morning being a little bit cold. Because
Yes.
that was the last time it would be cold today.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
What was your favorite part?
I think the highlight for me was just the variety of terrain. All the different terrain that we saw on this trip. We went from the mountains being above the snow line, Deer Park Road was gorgeous.
That was awesome.
And that was, from a viewpoint standpoint, hard to beat. But just the variety again, so going from the mountains to the rainforest, to the rivers that we saw, to the waterfalls, to the ocean, and these pristine blue lakes. So just everything about the Olympic Peninsula is just gorgeous. And so for me, it was that variety. I think we had one other thing that we agreed on was also a highlight for both of us.
Yes.
What was that?
The campsite that we found on the ridgeline the very first night.
Yeah. People always throw around the term epic camp. But I hate to do it, but I think that was an epic camp. So
Top 3 for sure.
yeah, it was amazing. It was absolutely spectacular up there. Mountain views, panoramic. We'll definitely be back up there again for sure.
That was beautiful.
And we've got it marked on the map now, so that'll be good.
We're going back.
We're going back, that's right. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. We had a blast, and we will definitely be back. So, where to next? We've got some pretty big plans coming up for July and August, so stay tuned for more.